Locate all the following parts which will be needed to assemble the roof support system. Roof rafter brace, stabilizer brackets, left and right side gables, left and right side roof gable angle brackets, roof peak with attached brackets. Pre-assemble the roof gables and angle brackets by positioning the angle bracket on the inside of the roof gable with the flat, narrow end of the angle bracket oriented to the bottom, narrow angle of the gable, and the top flange of the bracket without screw holes facing the top flange of the gable. Very loosely secure the brackets in place with a screw and locking nut. The gables and the angle brackets are left or right-sided, and only a left side angle bracket will fit correctly on a left side gable and vice versa. Attach the gables on the outside of the ends of the enclosure with a screw and finishing washer inserted through the hole in the bottom of the gable into the threaded insert at the top of the wall or door panel. Leave the screws just tight enough to hold the gables in position. The gable angle brackets will be facing inside the cage. The flanges on the wide ends of the gables will be adjacent to each other. Use a screw and locking nut to loosely connect the gables through the bottom holes of the adjacent flanges. Do not connect the flanges through the top holes at this point. The roof rafter braces will be installed perpendicular to the peak of the roof and attached to the inside top of wall panels on opposite sides of the enclosure. The position of the roof rafter brace will be parallel with the roof gables. There will be one roof rafter brace for each pair of opposite side wall panels down the length of the enclosure. If the cage has 2 wall panels on each side, there will be 2 rafter braces. If there are 10 wall panels down each side, there will be 10 rafter braces. The brace on the bottom of the rafter is attached to one side of the rafter, not directly under the center. The position of the braces in relation to the ends of the cage does not matter. The support brackets that will attach to them will fit regardless of the position of the brace. Each rafter is installed inside the enclosure by using screws to secure the brackets on the ends of the rafter to the 2 threaded inserts at the top of the opposite side wall panels. While one person holds the rafter in position, another person loosely installs the screws. Do not completely tighten the screws. The stabilizer brackets will connect the wall panel and door panels under the gables to the adjacent roof rafters. The stabilizer bracket has 2 ends. The panel end has a flange that is bent so that the end of the stabilizer is enclosed. The opposite end is flat, without a bent flange. There are 2 holes in the top of the stabilizer bracket, one of which will be used to tie the bracket to the brace. Hold the panel end of a stabilizer bracket up to one of the holes on the top of the wall or door panel with the top of the stabilizer bracket extending towards the adjacent rafter brace. If the holes do not line up, reposition the end of the stabilizer bracket over the other hole in the wall panel. Find the panel hole that lines up closest to the hole in the brace, and then use a screw to loosely connect the stabilizer bracket to the wall or door panel. If one of the holes in the top of the flat end of the stabilizer bracket does not line up perfectly with the hole in the rafter brace, then the end wall of the cage is not square. Push and pull the frame of the end wall panels until the holes line up, and then loosely secure the stabilizer to the roof rafter brace with a screw and locking nut. There will be one stabilizer bracket for each panel on the ends of the cage. Loosely install all the stabilizer brackets between the end walls of the enclosure and the adjacent roof rafter braces. The roof peak with brackets will sit on top of the rafters and run the full length of the enclosure. If the length of the cage is relatively short, there will only be one piece of roof peak with brackets connected at each end. If the enclosure is longer, then there will be several sections of roof peak material, of which only 2 will have a bracket attached at one end. Find the roof peak or peaks with the attached brackets. The ends of the roof peak over the brackets will slip under the top corners of the roof gables. The brackets under the roof peak pieces will be joined with the tops of the adjacent roof gables. Use a screw and locking nut through the holes in both the gables and the roof peak bracket to loosely tie them all together. The holes along the length of the roof peak should line up with the centers of the tops of the roof rafters so that a bolt can eventually be inserted from over the peak and extend through the rafter, but not yet. If the enclosure is too long for there to be a single piece roof peak, then there will be pieces of roof peak material without brackets that set on top of the rafters and overlap each other down the length of the enclosure. It is possible that 2 overlapping pieces of roof peak will also have holes that overlap. Make sure that a bolt can be inserted through the roof peak material and each roof rafter. This completes the roof support system for the enclosure.